Ladies and gentlemen, I have the number 13 ranked Kansas and Missouri lightweight. He is on a 6-fight win streak. 3 of them are by rear naked choke. He had his last victory, fucking blew me away. So I had to have him on the show because I knew that there was a ton to this dude and I had to have him in here. And I'm glad that he came. I'm glad that we talked for so long. And I'm glad that we get to show you guys what that looks like. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Murray.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem, bro.
Sorry I got to wear the sunglasses. I hate to be that guy indoors wearing the sunglasses, but I got injured and my eye is pretty jacked up. So doctor's orders, I got to keep it covered.
Just keep it covered.
Sorry.
Listen, it's the studio. It's the lights.
There's a lot of bright lights too, you know.
It's the pageantry. I know. I put off a lot. You know, I make people nervous. I'm just so good. Not really. I just fucked up for like 30 minutes. But anyway, the first thing I want to start out obviously is that fucking fight, your last victory, because I watched that fucking finish, and it drew me in because I was like, I know how uncomfortable he is, but he's not breaking. He's got his back. He knows the mission, and he completed it, right? And I'm watching you. He was raining shots on you.
Oh yeah.
Not like tag. It was like I was watching you take these. You got some was there a cut?
I had a cut above my eyebrow and underneath, and I know that the cut above happened on the feet, but underneath I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was honestly from those shots is what opened me up right there, but
yeah,
I don't really know. I just know that I was not letting go.
Right, and it's like I could only imagine him being so mad because he's over here I'm cracking him and you're not moving, and then you're switching that choke, and I love that you brought that up because no matter what, it was, I knew that it was dead air. He was done because it was you could just see it, and I'm like, that's a fucking fighter. That's what it is. It's being so uncomfortable right there, and you're you're most people can't take one shot.
You got to go to a different mental place.
Yeah.
I attribute the mental side of it to my coaches, obviously, and then the move itself. Trey Ogden did that to me 10 times in a row one day, and I actually asked him, I was like, how do you, obviously he's really good,
right?
But I'm like, how do you keep getting this? And he showed me, and I was like, oh my God, light bulb kind of clicked. And so I had Michael Banks's back actually in February of this year, and I didn't finish it rear naked choke, and I had his back for 2 minutes. So I was extremely frustrated at that, and I thought I'm going to now get this rear naked choke because I didn't finish it in February, and that's just kind of how I wanted it to go. But
right,
I don't know. Yeah, I was not letting go of that. Once I had the back, I was like, don't let go until the ref pulls you off.
Yeah, you can, and like I said, you can totally see it. And I remember doing, like I said, we drilled that move for an hour, one class. And the big thing that was taught by Trey was that, yes, you may not get it the first, second, third, fourth, but guess what you can do? You can do that all day long.
Yep, just keep funneling it through.
Right.
Back and forth.
Because someone's going to have to, give it up. And if you're the one who doesn't, and they just miss that, reach for that hand wrong, you're like, nope, it's already there.
Exactly.
And you had it. Squeeze. And like I said, you fucking props to you, man.
I was leaking blood, though, and I was pissed in the fight. I was just
You were mad because you were leaking?
I know that I had a wrist wrap, and I couldn't get my arm free at one point, and I could just see blood kind of going onto the canvas, and I was like, well, that's not him bleeding.
Right.
I was like, that's me. And I was... I've never been in the Octagon. So is it just your adrenaline's going, shit's going, that you get hit, and you're like, fuck it. It's just another hit. You didn't know that? I wasn't even fuck it. I just didn't know where it came from. I know that at one point I got hit on the feet. I could see blood leaking down my eye.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought what did he just hit me with?
Right.
I didn't feel anything too hard to really clip me like that. So, I don't know. It just happens. Even right. My coaches were like, when did this happen? Did you guys butt heads? Nobody knew. So
you were like, I don't think he even hit you.
I don't know. I'm sure he did, but I don't know. I was locked in.
And like I said, we we drilled it so much, and that's there's things you get in the gym that you take out that you can universally use outside in the real world, right? So if you wanted to like break it down, because this is what I used to break it down like this. I'm like, listen, if it's a struggle, like if there's shit that's happening right now, either the struggle is going to be the one that, in this case, has the back,
yeah,
or either way, it's in your hands. You're either going to keep attempting to do it until you like choke it the fuck out, then it's no longer a struggle, or you're going to let it take you and then fucking be like, oh, I lost that because I gave the fuck up.
I was not letting that go.
Yeah.
My mission was to go to the back, and I had that, and I thought, stop.
And well, so is jiu-jitsu the background for, like, is that like your game? Like your game? I don't know how else to word it, but like jiu-jitsu was a thing that was.
I would say that's my comfort spot, or my comfort. You know, in a fight, like everyone has their comfortable spots. I would say I'm most comfortable in that aspect. Obviously, I'm not like some samurai or, you know, some black belt, just world class person, you know. But
Trey Ogden.
Yeah, I think that I am safest there, but obviously I can still get caught, and I need to be efficient everywhere.
Right.
Is the goal.
And like I said, that's by saying it's your comfort. It's not saying like, oh, that's the only thing I do because I don't know anything else. It's like, no. It's like jiu-jitsu is a thing where you can tap into this, like this energy of, at least for me, I'm never satisfied after that class, because then it's like, I want to know more. So it's the thing you can always go for. And what belt are you again?
I just got my purple belt.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Most people don't even get a stripe.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
most people go like, oh, I'm not a jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
like,
I'm halfway there. Halfway there to the goal of a black belt, you know, and just keep the journey moving.
I love what you said about that too. Like the black belt and mixing it all with, you know, outside job, school, fighting. And then you also were like, but at the end, no matter what, I'm getting my black belt.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, I'm only going to be able to fight for so long, and I'll still actively do jiu-jitsu, but there'll be a time and place when I can't fight anymore, and I can focus more just on jiu-jitsu and learning how to better myself in the gi and no gi. But right now, it's mainly geared towards fighting.
Like I said, you're killing it. Like I knew your record already, but I saw that, like I said, the last 3 rear naked choke, and I'm like, there's only 2 ways you look at that, right? And there's the view of I train, I know what's going on here, and the outside perspective, oh, he's just a wrestler, grappler, wants to, you know, like that.
Yeah.
Kill him. I want to see you punch him in the face. And you're like, no, if you understand that he didn't just like stumble upon a rear naked choke, like you have to get him to the ground. You have to submit them into a spot where you can take their back and do a rear naked choke.
It's very satisfying for my mind to have another person coming at me full force saying, I'm going to take your head off. And I'm sitting there saying, I'm going to submit you. And if you don't tap, you know, obviously you're going to go to sleep.
Right.
And you need someone to pull me off of you because I could kill you. You know, that's kind of how I see it. It's kind of satisfying. It's kind of fucked up, but I like it.
Well, fighters are all a little / a lot of fucked up.
Oh, there's a screw loose in every fighter.
Right. There's something in there that's like he just wants to break out.
Oh yeah, it's weird. But yeah, there's definitely a screw loose in every fighter. I'd say it's not normal to want to get in a cage, but a lot of people seem to do it. So.
Well, how'd you find this avenue? How'd you find MMA in general? I don't even know how.
I got out of the Marine Corps, and I just felt myself like wanting to compete or do something along that nature. I don't really like lifting weights and working out. It's never been my thing. But obviously I wanted to do something active, and I lived like 10 minutes from the gym, didn't even know it one day, and just like Googled it. I walked in there and I did a trial class, and Matt Waters, my boy, got me all signed up, and it's been kind of then, you know, just jiu-jitsu for 2 years. And then I thought, you know, I'll make it a bucket list thing. I'll do one fight. And then
shit.
And then I did one fight, and then I was like, there's no way. Like, I didn't win that fight. You know, like that. There's no way that happened.
I got to do a second one.
And then I did a second one, and I was like, hold on, that was a fluke again. Like, I barely won that fight, you know, like that could have gone both ways, but I'll take the win. And then I did it again, and I won, and I was like, all right, I'm hooked,
Right.
you know? But I think I got hooked on wanting to find out where my cap is, what the best me could be. I don't have this goal of like, oh, I'm going to be the next UFC champion, or I'm going to, you know, beat the best world-class fighters. I mean, that would be awesome, but my goal is just to be the best me. And obviously, you know, I find something new in myself every day with this sport.
Right.
And I think that's a pretty cool part of it that a lot of people don't get to see. You push yourself in certain aspects in the gym, outside of the gym, you know, all in order to better yourself in the fight.
Right. And I mean, there's the idea that this is so funny amongst all of you guys, because the fighters that I know, like Gomi, for example, right? We were talking, you were like, he's so fucking good.
Yeah, that dude's a savage.
He's a savage. He's so good. And nothing but compliments. But his story is perfect. He's not even, do you know anything about it? Have you ever heard this?
No.
Fucking bonkers. Tell me this isn't like a spiritual connection to the universe, right? Like me and James, the way we met, the way everything worked out, I had to fuck up in order to find James. James had, we can merge these together and develop something that you get to watch like this. Like, I fully believe there's some kind of, you know, spirituality, God, whatever you want to call it out there, connected to whatever your purpose is going to be. And Gomes he's not even in Kansas. He doesn't live here yet. And he's just driving down Metcalf and goes, oh, okay. Pulls in, right? And I remember telling Sam, I was like, how'd you find it? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, it's hard to find. I tried to Google it, then I got lost, and I did this. And Gomi just happened to be driving down the street, goes, oh, an MMA gym. I've always wanted to try that. And then walked in.
No way.
For real.
That's crazy.
And then walked in, wanted to, maybe I'll compete, right? But just wanted to have like this outlet, this competitive nature that's in there, because he wrestled like at a college level. And obviously, if you can't tell from watching Gomi's fights, he's really fucking good at it. And so
he's not bad. He's not bad.
He's fucking great. And so the idea that he just happened to find it and then happened to walk in at the perfect time when Trey is like developing this fight group, this team, and then be a key core member of that team.
Yeah, he's like a big part of it.
Yeah, just from happenstance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot more at play here in that.
Oh yeah.
And it's just funny that you were like, I just Googled it, wanted to do it. Oh, the first one was a fluke, the second one, and the next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, I got 5 fights under my belt. Like,
yeah, it was. Well, then I dove all in, and then I like lost, and I thought, well, I can't quit on a loss.
yeah.
Right. Like,
What was your first loss? When was that?
that was Gage Young.
Okay. No shit.
Yeah, it was Gage Young. So I was 3-0. I think Gage was like 3-0, but I had seen Gage fight
Another animal.
another like teammate from the Lee Summit gym at one point or something, and he knocked him out, and I was like, I knew he was good.
Yeah.
And then I also knew he did like kickboxing down from like Sedalia or wherever he's from, I think too.
Mm-hmm.
So my teammate was supposed to fight him. He got hurt. They put me in there, and I mean, we all know Gage is a fucking killer.
He's a murderer.
He's a murderer.
He's a murderer.
Yeah.
Like,
so
understatement.
I fought Gage, and I was like, well, there's no way I can't go out on a loss.
Right.
But I was still bummed, and I don't know, one of those. And then I fought Nick Meck on like a week's notice at 70.
What the? You're like that. This is perfect. Even these losses. You're like, oh, now they're like, I know these guys. I've been with these guys.
Now they're on the team, but it was like annoying as shit because it's like these guys beat me and then they come to the team.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I the gatekeeper? Like this is not cool. Like what the fuck?
We got to get through Mike.
Yeah, and I'm
we're
like,
in.
there's no way I'm the gatekeeper here. You know, like I just started this shit. So yeah, then I actually like had lost. I won 3 and then I lost 3 in a row, and I was just kind of pondering with Zach, like, I don't want to be this 4-10 Amy.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to just tell people at the bar I'm a fighter. Like I don't like that. You know, that's not
Right.
me at all. So I wanted to find my cap, and then fought, got back on the horse, won a couple, you know, and then realized if I wanted to actually pursue this, I had to make some big life changes and choices.
Right.
So,
A lot of people do. You're leading this perfect, because I have two important questions that I always want to ask guys who are like coming up in this sport, because the first thing is like the losses. Like if you let that loss, and you already said it perfectly, if you let that loss define that career, then you're just that dude at the bar who was like, yeah, I had, 4 fights, but one of them was a loss, and then I was just like, not for me. But it's like, no, it doesn't stop there. Like, you learn from the loss. You know what I mean?
yeah, I don't want to quit when it gets hard.
Right.
Then you're kind of a bitch.
Exactly.
Like, oh, you lost one time, so now you're going to quit? Like, that's a bitch move.
Right. You're like, you didn't go back after that? You're
It'd
like, you weren't there.
It'd be different if my nose was like Mike Perry,
Oh my gosh,
or like my jaw was broken, like something catastrophic. But
right.
Yeah, I'm not trying to.
But yeah, you guys don't. That's also a universal thing I can take with me. Like, when shit gets tough, I like to try to not word it for myself in a way that's like healthy, but you normally, at least in my life, when you get to a point where like shit's getting hard, like really hard, where you don't think you can come back from it, that's the point when you do, a piece of you dies and a new part comes out and you're changed. Boom, there you go. Like, and that's something that Trey taught me, Gomi taught me. And it's something as simple as like, he didn't get me in a guillotine the first time. And then it just exponentially grows into something you can just take outside of, just the gym.
Yeah, so, losses are not fun.
No.
They're the worst. But
yeah, I'm not saying they're happy. You're like, oh, I got that loss out of the way.
Yeah.
That's not a thing that happens. But but after the fact, you can build a healthy bond with the loss.
Exactly. If you reflect in a healthy way and move forward, or maybe you're kind of slacking that camp or whatever,
Right.
Or, you need to change some lifestyle things, who you're around.
It'll jump at you. It'll tell you.
It honestly will tell you what you're doing wrong. A lot of the times, 99% of the time, it'll tell you what you're doing wrong. I think even when you win, I think there's always something to pick apart. My coaches get mad at that. After I win, I get backstage and I'm like pissed that I didn't do this right or what. And they're like, dude, you just won. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you just fought at FAC in front of all these people.
I know.
And you're like, I know.
It's hard. I
know.
I just want like you have this picture of how the fight's going to go a lot of the times.
Yeah.
It doesn't go like that ever.
No.
So.
Well, and that's something else that like, Mason and Luna were in here and they have, how do I word it in a way that's not just like the same regurgitated thing, but it's like there's different levels to the game, but those levels also have an individuality to it because it's only you. Yeah. So like Luna he was like, I want legacy. I want to be able to be like, I didn't quit when it was tough. I wanted to keep going. I wanted to fight. Mason's like, he told me straight up, he goes, that belt on the wall over there, he goes, it's fucking poison. I don't want it. I go, what? He goes, yeah, if I get too comfortable looking at that thing, then that's my lean back. I go like, oh yeah, I am badass, but I lost, but I have this though.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to be comfortable being like, just like you said, the guy at the bar who was like, I used to fight and I was really good. And it's like, we didn't ask you.
No one gives a shit. Yeah, no one gives a shit.
We didn't ask you. I don't even know you. And you're like, yeah, I used to do the fight thing and now I am here with you guys. They're like, we don't know you.
Yeah.
And it's just that I think it comes from a healthy mental space and ability to be like, even if you win, it's still not satisfactory. Like there's still something you're like, nope, gotta take that, fix that, do this, do that, do that. And
I think when you're satisfied with your work is when you stop trying to better yourself or your work, Right. So when you're like, oh, that was perfect. Well, what are you gonna better? You can always better something. Exactly.
And it's a thing of longevity. So like if you can find something, and this is obviously to people listening, because I have mine. I have James. What's up, brother? No? And we have this awesome space, and we get to cultivate this cool thing. But it didn't just like happen immediately. Like obviously all this shit had to like follow a system that got to a point where we could actually do it. And it's just a really healthy perspective that most of you guys have. Like I haven't talked to one of you guys who's like, yeah, I want to fucking kill you. It's like I do, but also there's something else underlying there.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
And I didn't know this when we were talking, but you said you were in the military.
Mm-hmm.
How? Walk me through that. I'm telling.
I wasn't probably the best student in high school. My dad was like, "You need discipline," kind of thing. You know, I probably wasn't the best example.
And you go, "But Dad, you're my discipline."
Exactly. I don't think I would have made it through college back then if I was on that same path. You know, I wasn't on anything good, and I joined the military, went to the Marine Corps, and just kind of set sail. And it was what it was. I loved it, but I hated it at the same time. I met some of the greatest people in my life doing that job for sure. You know, some of the most selfless, humble, caring people in the world, but also some of the most savage people ever.
Sounds like the gym.
Yeah. Honestly, that's what it is. It's that same camaraderie of you guys all have the same goal and mission. Everyone has a job to do, and it's just go forward.
Right.
You know? There's no bitching about what happened yesterday or what's going on or who's hurt or sick. It's like, okay, let's go.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's usually how it goes. I remember the Marines would come in. Did they set up the pull-up bar for you guys when you were in high school?
That shit's so lame. Yeah.
Well, now let's put a little glimpse into what Chase's life looked like in high school. I think I graduated and I weighed 138 pounds. And so I was literally, I could do those pull-ups all day long. So it was the only thing that I was like, you know, not like.
Damn.
Yeah. So
I
I
would
was
have
like,
blown your TikTok up back in the day.
oh, I know. I was like, they go, what are you doing? I'm like,
Just
it's
keep going.
so light. Yeah. And I was just like, because it was in front of everybody in the lunchroom. And I'm like, are you fucking with us? Like, what are you doing this to us for?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the only way. This is so dumb. This is the only way girls will look at me. So I'm going to do all the fucking pull-ups.
That's awesome.
And I would do it. And they're like, oh my gosh, you did like 40-something pull-ups. And I'm like, I know, I'm like really strong, but like lean. And I'm like, and then I like had a six-pack. So I'd like go like this. I'm like, yeah, I feel good. And then, you know, that didn't go well with the other half of the school, which is the dudes. And they were like, yeah, but I like squat 350 and I do this and do that. So then there's just this struggle between like, guys, I'm not trying to like be better. Okay. I just want like that girl over there. She just has to look at me doing pull-ups.
That's it.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm hooked. Got it. Like, so I just was curious if they did that with you. I was like, if that was just my high school down in the Southern Vale, right, where they do that, I was like,
no, I don't think I ever did pull-ups in the lunchroom. They were there for sure, though. I think I kept it pretty hush. I would see like the recruiters there, they knew me, and
oh yeah,
I'm like, keep my head down, just
You're
keep
like,
moving. I'm like, don't talk to me, please don't talk to me.
Well, were you? So we were talking. How big were you in high school? Like, were you? Because you're a
Freshman year.
Yeah.
Shit, this is like forever ago. But freshman year, I wrestled at like 103 pounds. I didn't have to cut any weight. And I think when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was like maybe $140.
Okay, yeah.
About that. So.
I mean, and like I said, you're like Gomi, you, and a lot of these guys, like, it must be, it's like it's in the water. Like, if I go get a drink of the water fountain, I'm like I just feel, but it's the fucking exercise, the work, everything we do, the drills, everything that creates something new. It was like a new me. I'm like, what the fuck?
I think I've gotten a lot bigger with the strength and conditioning program I've done for almost 2 years now with my boy Stefaan Jefferson.
Oh, dude, I saw him and I was like, yeah.
Bro, that guy's strong as fuck.
Yeah.
He does functional patterns, and I
game changer.
Was fortunate enough to learn and still learning from him, and I get to how do you say it? I get to work out with some of like the most savage people, and he's just coaching us through. Actually, that's why he walks out with me too. He's like a good mental space for me too.
Yeah.
He just gets me locked in. His dad was a Marine, and he's got like the whole like, I don't give a shit what's going on attitude. I'm gonna take care of you, but you bet your ass you're about to go out there and whoop some ass, you know, kind of thing. And he's just a good ass dude. So. Yeah. Functional patterns though has like honestly changed. Like I said earlier, I hate like lifting weight. I'm a small dude. I'm not gonna get jacked doing deadlifts all day and bench press. But when we're swinging maces and paraballs and different stuff like that, you know, you're swinging weight around and moving your weight this way and that way and keeping your core tight and a bunch of different stuff. I I definitely think it's elevated my strength, cardio, and just my mental, knowing I've done enough to get in there.
Well, yeah, and it's like you don't want that. You don't want to like, if you like. I understand that some people are built different, and if you like are jacked and you go in the octagon and that's your gig, but like, you're moving weight around, right? Whether it's even if you throw like, let's just do something basic. 90% of people who get in like a bar fight will throw their right hand because they're right-handed.
Yeah.
Now, if you know that, right, and you're like, he's going to throw a right hand, just even if you anticipate it, you're probably going to be a majority correct, right? So they're probably going to lean like, what did they say, a letter opener, right, this, and you're like, you're fucked. Like, immediately you're like, you're fucked, and you're off balance, right? It helps with everything that you do.
Yeah, it's definitely elevated and changed my game on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And I don't know why more fighters aren't doing this, because it's grip strength. It's every type of strength that you could need, along with the movement and mobility and balance.
Oh, yeah.
You know, which is huge. So it's kind of everything tied into one.
And it's like I said, it's the functional ability to be confident in that movement. But do you know Austin Pace? Have you ever heard of his gym, Amp Performance?
Mm-mm.
That's the first guy who showed me that, like, on Instagram. What up, Austin? He call out, I'll see you soon, right? Because I was telling him, like, this is a bunch of, like, really important information. You have a lot of guys who go to, like, the Lee Summit location, and I saw them working with him, and it to the person looking in, you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, standing on a block for balance and doing shit like that, and, like, moving weight so you're balanced in different aspects. I can't even tell you what it is. He just has to come in and tell you. But it's super important for all of those guys.
When I saw Mikey doing it for a year or two, and how strong Mikey is, and he's a D1 athlete and wrestled at very high levels, and he's doing this, I'm like, well, why the fuck am I not doing this?
Right.
You know, like this guy's doing it. You know,
Yeah.
Why not? So I kind of had that influence too, you know, of,
Right.
well, like you said, looking through the window, I was looking at him, or he'll be at home like working out doing that, and I'm like, that looks weird as shit, man. What are you doing? Then I tried. I'm like, wow, I can't even do that movement, or I can't even do that workout.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's different until you start to do it, and then you're like, oh, I understand.
When, like, that was always my, like I said, going back to, like, when I was, so I'm 26. 26-year-old me would, oh my gosh, if I could go back to 16-year-old Chase, I probably wouldn't say shit. I'd just look and be like, I'm so glad that 10 years from now I'm not this person. But at least something that I connected to was that, like, when I would do we would do like clean and jerks, deadlift, bench, like pull-ups, all the basically the body exercises that, like, make you look like really good. But it wasn't anything functional, but that was like my escape.
Yeah.
Like, working out and, like, putting in competitiveness into something was it was key. It's something I needed to have because I never had that. So I was tiny, right? And I grew really tall. So, like, my parents loved you to death, but I understand why they bubble wrapped me my whole life. Like, I still remember, like, riding my bike, and I'm like, I'm going down this hill, and I'm going really fast, and I'm like, oh God, like, I'm freaking out, and I forget I have brakes. So I just see, like, a curb.
Just eat it?
Dude, I flipped the whole bike. The bike went into the neighbor's yard, hit their porch, my parents.
Damn, that would have been a sick video.
My baby. Like, my mom's running out, and I'm just like, that was awesome. Like, that's the only thing that came out, and I'm like, I'm fine. And then I just kept pushing, like, limits. And then I was like, time for a skateboard. I remember.
You remember those X Factor ramps?
Yes.
Oh, dude. We used to fly down this hill, and they had a radar?
Mm-hmm.
Like the cops, you know, put like a radar thing in the neighborhood.
How fast you going?
Yeah, and of course they put it down this giant hill, right? So we'd put our X Factor ramp there, and we would fly down this hill and see how fast we could go, along with putting a ramp there. Not safe. Oh my God, we would get in a lot of trouble.
Well, and, like, so when it's same here, where they used to this is a glimpse of my town. There's a giant hill that goes down just like that to a stop sign. right? And it's a 4-way stop. These people, they would get like wagons, like those red wagons, fucking jack them up, put tires on there, put a helmet on, and they would just ride that thing down. I mean, like straight down. And they did that, and I'm like, I want to do that. And I was like, I'll do it on my skateboard.
You're crazy.
Yeah, I was.
Crazy.
But I was like, it was always from like this insecurity thing that I had to like cope with, to like, I didn't know how to deal with it. So I was like, I'll just try new things. And then the things were always something that like made me feel better in the moment a little bit, but then wasn't really beneficial at all. And one of those was like my first taste of that competitive nature you're talking about, which was, I'm going to go down this fucking half pipe, right? I had this it was a Walmart skateboard, like not good. Like it rolled like.
Bad trucks, wheels,
terrible.
Everything. Yeah.
I got a board in my car right now. I just fucking go to the park the other day.
That's the only sport I can never do.
No?
I'm so bad. I don't know why. I can barely ride a skateboard. It doesn't make sense.
On the board, no balance?
I don't get it. Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, and I'm not. Well, we got a poser over here. I'm not trying to be like that. Well, I skate all day long, bro.
Oh shit.
But I remember going, and my first taste of that competitive nature of like, I can do it. Good self-talk was going down that ramp, even though I knew I couldn't do it. I'm looking down. I'm like 11, and I immediately like don't shift my weight, so I lean back. My wrist just goes wham right on that post. Snapped it. Immediately snapped it. I'm crying. My dad's coming over. What's going on? And I just fucking lie right to his face. I'm like, I'm fine. He goes, you don't look fine. And I'm just holding it like this. I go, no, it's good. And I go, see? And I just move my wrist like that. And like,
was it broke?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh shit.
And then I did it again.
Duct tape or what?
Oh yeah, no. I had backup pads. Yeah, for sure. And then, but then I went down again, and I just clean break right through. So like this bone right here.
Wait,
right?
You went down again?
Yeah, so I broke it.
Oh damn.
But I was like, I'm not gonna let this fucking beat me, right? Because I was like, I don't want to give up, and I knew it because it hurt like fuck, and it was like swollen and shit. And then the same spot, so it just cleaned through. Then we went to the hospital.
Oh my god.
And then my dad, I think that's when my dad shifted from like, we gotta protect Chase. he's not doing things right. And then he like tossed the skateboard, and like it was just not a good. I understand now, and I can do it for my kiddo, but you have to let your kids play and like do things like that, but obviously in a safe environment. Like make sure like not gonna like be an idiot like me, like break my wrist. But I was always pushing those limits because I just had this weird nature. Like I need to put this competitive like thing in my soul into something else, like a vessel, and then go with that. And that turned into MMA in my early 20s, and then I've stuck with it ever since. And then now, like you said, when we get older, can't fucking take shots, fight after a while. But
yeah, I'm not trying to be punch drunk.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
But I do want to do jiu-jitsu because that's a longevity thing we can do. And then, like, you know, snap my collarbone, like concussion, like
damn,
everything.
Be placing a bubble for sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not think you would side with my parents on this thing. I'd be like, he gets it, right? And you're like, oh, I see why they put you in a bubble.
Sorry.
No, you're good. But that was something that the gym and Trey cured. Was I had a bad mental space. And like I said, I'm really glad that I'm able to be open about it and like say I go to therapy. Like I do different things to better myself, not only physically in the gym, but also outside the gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think your mental is the number one for fighting. I really do.
Yeah.
I know I worded that really wrong, but
I get it.
I think if you're not mentally in it, you could be physically strong, conditioned well. You could be athletic and have all the skill, but if you're not mentally locked in, or you don't have that mental strength to like push, what happens when it gets hard?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then what are you gonna do? So
drink at the bar and say that you were once a fighter.
Exactly, and those people are losers. So.
Yeah, my sister said that too. She was like, you cannot tell you, because like I said, she's a college dancer. She's a pretty blonde, like two different sides of a coin with me and her, right? But like also the same, because she doesn't, like, she'll be at a bar and I brought up those dudes and she goes, fucking hate them. Hate them. They come up to me. They go like, oh yeah, like, no, I totally am doing this and I've got money and my Tesla's parked out back. And I'm like, if you're proud of something You're not going to just go where strangers are at and then talk nonsense and hope that like this pretty blonde chick like follows you home. Like what? Like you're just searching.
Yeah, I don't understand those people. I don't get it. If like you were to have a conversation and things break down and, oh, what do you do in your free time or blah, 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 right? Like I'll throw it out there. But I'm not just like, hey, what's up? My name is Mike. I'm a fighter.
Right.
That's so douchey.
That's the dude.
Those people suck. So
yeah, like
I've also heard people do that and I'm kind of been like, are you sure?
You go like this. You go, let me just warm up here.
No. I'd get in trouble. But yeah, nobody likes those people.
No, it's the same thing. It's like if you want the things that like you have on your mind, you're not gonna just jump the gun and be like before this existed, I wasn't saying anything. Mm-hmm. I'm like, 6 months, I'm gonna put my head down. What do I need? What do I have to do? And all this stuff. And as I was putting in that work and finding all the things I needed to find to create a business that we could have together, it was like, then I found him. And then it was like perfect because any questions he had, I'm like, no, I have that covered. I've been doing this for a little bit. I think we can, but you have something that I don't have.
Yeah.
And meshing those things together is also similar to the teammates. Like the people that you roll with, it's like that's something else that they never shied away from, which was like, if I have a question, no matter how fucking stupid, they're like, no, let me show you. And they would just do it for me. They're like, see how I was getting that? And I'm like, I do. But I gapped it, so do it again. And they do it.
An interesting thing also is everyone has a different perspective on how they see certain moves and details done and things like that.
Correct.
So I like to pick certain people's brains about certain positions and movements and things like that. But I also, like we were talking about the camaraderie, like one of my best friends in the gym, Tyler. Mm-hmm. Shout out Tyler. Tyler Trout is my boy. If I was to meet him in public, he and I are complete polar opposites, and we would hate each other.
Like how so?
Like he's a country boy from Kearney. You know, I'm dressed a little more city boy. And, you know, things like that.
He's like, who the fuck are you?
Exactly. And I would test him, he would test me, kind of thing. But now that we're teammates, it's cool to see like all walks of life kind of have the same goal and mission.
Correct.
You know, to get better and to better each other. So I love that aspect of the gym.
Well, and I think the one key element is that like name other things that bring two opposites together, right? But then in there, you're not necessarily opposite. You're now the same. You have the same mission. And I was like, that is also relative in a business, in career, in it's just like everything I use, it's like filtered through that lens. Changed my life. But I think that's just missing out there. I don't think a lot of people when they get, you know, and I'll lead into my thing after this, but I really think that at my lowest point, I just never found that thing. I never found that thing that I could relate with and that other people could relate with and then build and grow as a person. Mm-hmm. And I think people are just, you know, they graduate, they go out to do their work, and then all they have is work. So then you get these guys who are like, I've got money, a Tesla, I've got this, right? But they don't go, it put me in debt. I can't pay for this. I don't, right? It's the opposite. And they're just lacking.
That sounds boring.
Yeah, so boring. That sounds
boring. I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, they're making more money and I get it, etc. But I don't want to ever look back and think like, what if?
Right. I love that you said, I want no regrets. I don't want to be 60 sitting there like, well, I could have done that, done this.
Yeah.
And I'll be devil's advocate. I think even if you say that now, like we are right now, all of this, I'm not going to regret this. I'm going to have him forever. I'll be visiting him at the retirement home after bingo. You know what I mean? Like there's bonds that I can't unbreak, and I'm ever thankful for that. But I think at certain levels you're going to have regret. I think it's just part of being here, living on earth. But if you can minimize how big that is, you know what I mean? If you can go like,
I agree with that.
That big chunk.
That. Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
The other guys, they're going to have a big fucking chunk.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely regrets that I have, but I'm trying to minimize that as life goes on, you know. Like you said, make that list shorter.
Right.
Try to condense it. Do what I can to not have that thought or feeling.
Right. And so I walked into the gym, and so I'm 22, and the whole reason, let's get into it, huh? Therapy. Here we go.
I would kill to be 22.
How old are you?
I can't say that on camera. I'm just kidding. I'm 30. I'm 30.
No shit.
Yeah, I just turned 30.
You're fucking with me.
No, I turned 30 in September.
Ah, dude, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with that, bro.
I would kill to be 22 and start this out. I think I started like...
So I'm not 22 now. I'm 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I started.
You started?
Yeah, like
no shit.
25, I think, 26.
There's still hope for me.
Consistency.
Yeah. But so I'm 22. I got a kiddo. I have no purpose, no drive, and now I'm stuck out in the world, and I'm having to figure out how to cope with it, and I'm not doing good. Like, every bad habit, not like drugs or anything like that, but like alcohol used to be a huge, huge thing, and just ignoring it, and alcohol. And I remember being at a point where I was like, I just couldn't find anything. Like I know that people like there are going through the same shit where you're like, I'm in my early 20s, maybe I'm 25. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing or what's going on. Everyone else does, but that's not true either. They don't have anything figured out. But no one's gonna come speak to me and tell me that. I'm just gonna have to sit here with my shit, and then like it got to a point where I'm like, Mom, Dad, I don't want to live anymore, so I think I'm done with this. And they're like, what the fuck? And I only did it because I was so like fucked up. And they got me, and like I remember having to go and talk with like people, and they were like, yeah, you got some stuff. And I was like,
we all got some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's fucked up. Everyone's broken to a certain extent.
Everyone's got their own something, but you don't know that because you think you're
alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've just felt I was alone because I'm seeing people who are my age doing something else.
Or you look at their social media.
Yeah, that fucks me up.
And you're like, wait, what? Hold on.
Yeah, until I realized, I remember I watched, so let's, okay, fast forward. So they come get me. I'm probably 4 months into like being, like seeing I forget what they are. They're the ones that are therapists but also doctors. Psychiatrists, I think. Yeah, that's the right word. And then I'm having to go do like therapy for it because they're like really trying to get to the reason as to why I'm feeling that way, because they're like, you really, and it didn't hit me then. I'm like, I just want out. Like, I don't want to have to do this necessarily. And so I was a lot of weight. I know a lot of people have a lot of weight on their shoulders, and like there are people that can help, for sure can help. And like I said, I'm happily medicated. so like I realized that my sporadic not finishing things and like feeling lost was like, oh, you have the hyperactive ADHD. You're not going to get anything done unless you have this. And it's like night and day. And then they're like serotonin. You have maybe you don't, they're like, there might be a loose wire or a loose connection in there. Here you go. And for the last 2 years, it's like night and day. And you have to like look at yourself and be like, okay, if I hate myself, like why? Like there's always something that if you don't acknowledge, it will just like a cancer. It's just going to like grow, and eventually it's just going to take over, and then you have nothing to combat it with. And I'm so like happy that I had all those things. And then in that point, I was looking for something. So then I found the gym, and I go there and I go to Gladstone because I typed in, I don't know if I typed in like UFC or something, and it was like UFC training. Like I wanted to like do physical exercise but not lift because I'm not a big person. And then I found Gladstone, and my favorite story, and I'll tell it every episode. So if you hate it, you're already this far. You're already 46 minutes in. You love it. Be honest with you. But the story goes, I walked into Gladstone, signed the waiver, and I went to Zach. I remember the belt wall, all the medals and the belts on the wall.
Yeah.
I go like this, like wide-eyed. I'm like, yeah, I want one. And he just goes, like laughs, like right at me. And I go, no, I'll work fucking hard and do this and do that. And I'll be here every day. And I was there every day. But about a month in, I was like, hey, Zach. I go, Chase. And he's like, in 3 months, I'll learn your name. And I was like, oh shit. Like, but it wasn't negative from him at all. I'm not saying that he's like one of the guys who also taught me, like, this is a tough game. There's hard knocks involved. Literally, you're getting hit in the head.
That's my dog.
Yeah, but like immediately after, it wasn't like, oh, like sad. It was like, well, now I want you to know my fucking name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be here more. I'm going to come in more. And then 3 months goes by and he knew my name. And I'm like, then I met Sam and Ty. I forgot to start with our story. I have a story about you when I was there.
Oh, no.
It's a good one.
We can skip it.
No, it's cut that. But so I was in there for probably, 3 months. And Sam had taught me, like, some things, how to block. And I was getting better. And I remember you want to slip punches like you're shaving. You know what I mean? And I was still leaning very far away and like trying to be protective of this side. And you saw that. And it wasn't hard. It was like instinctual and like shin. I remember seeing a shin. Yes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I remember seeing a shin and I go, oh, like that. Nothing happened. No blackout, no nothing. But immediately, not like, yeah, I got you. You like grabbed me. You were like, you good? And like,
damn, I don't remember this.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's because like, how dare you? But I'm pretty special. You should remember me. But after that moment, and then you were like, no, you're good, man. Like, there was like 2 minutes left in the round. You're like, just relax. And you like kind of kneeled down. You were like, you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not. Nothing's wrong. And then we just sparred for the next like minute. And you were like, way to fucking go. I'm like, gave me knuckles. I'm like, that's Mike Murray.
Oh,
like,
shit. Thank you.
Know?
My bad.
So it's like, yes, you could have, you like easily ended me, right? But you had restraint. You were humble. You were kind. Stopped your session. Talked to me about it. And like,
that's because there's someone else in that gym that could fuck me up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pecking order. And it's like, I'm not there to beat up the new guys. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I don't gain any satisfaction off that, but I'm still going to go with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But there's also like one of those, like, if someone up higher in the food chain sees me just being a complete piece of shit to the new guy, then they're going to restore the order and be like, listen up, motherfucker.
You can't do that.
Yeah, it's not cool.
Yeah.
And especially when you have newer guys coming in and try the gym, you don't want that atmosphere for them.
No.
That's not healthy.
Right.
So,
I mean, I was going to say that's a big story of like, it was probably, because like I said, I was at a really bad spot. And that was one of those moments. And then like that, so I'll go through Sam, Trisham, and you. So you was that's humility and like kindness in a place that's supposed to like cultivate the outside stigma of killers who will kill you on sight. They don't, and it's like, that's not even close to what I'm experiencing inside here.
No, some of the nicest people are in that room.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And for a period of time, there was no nice, there was no kind, there was nothing that I could tap into that like, and that's the thing I was like missing. And then Sam's like, I remember looking like at his forehead, I think, like looking like really tall. And he goes, and he kept getting things on me. And I'm like, why? How? And we stopped. And he's like, look like here. Or like, look somewhere not like at me in the eyes. Because if you're looking into my eyes, like, I'm not looking at yours. He's like, I'm seeing motion from peripherals. I'm seeing things that you're going to do. So, and like, that changed it. And then it just, Trisham was the guy who I had to dodge the giant cross. That's all. You know what I mean? I'm like, he's long. I'm just going to.
That dude's good.
Yeah. And then
good.
And then, like I said, we talked, and I'm like, you could have just thrown the jab all day long and kept me away and like
well,
done
he's
this.
9 feet long.
Yeah.
So that also helps.
Yeah. And I'm like, but you didn't. That's not good work for you. That's not good work for me.
No.
Instead, you would do it, and then you would do something else, and now I'm cutting angles now. Like little things like that where it's like in the moment you're just there, but it could literally like mend and heal someone mentally and you would have no idea. I think a lot of people got into MMA or jiu-jitsu or some sort of training just because of bad mental state. Yeah.
I really believe that. I know a lot of people that, said, hey, I was in a bad spot and I tried jiu-jitsu and I fell in love with it and go from there. So it's kind of crazy. And
that's also how this name came about. So the podcast it comes in waves, because to me it's like you're going to have a myriad of different levels in life. So maybe it's in reference to good and bad things. Maybe it's just a small good thing or a small bad thing, or maybe it's a tsunami of bad, but then a tsunami of good. You're going to have to figure out how to deal with all of those different levels. And so one of the things that I really wanted to ask you was, when you're out of the military, you find MMA. Is there anything on this journey that's been a struggle or something that's I shouldn't be here, but I am, or anything that's a story into getting here, even if it's from losses or anything like that? If it's nothing big, I'm not saying
What do you mean though?
If for me, it's I wanted to. I was suicidal, and then I found a gym, and I found a need to live. And then some other people, it's Gomi just was lost and was just driving down the street, and then happened to find this place, and he's but then I wasn't living in Kansas, so now my struggle is having to move from where I was in California all the way out to Kansas on a whim because I went into a gym and fell in love, Yeah. There's different levels to how people got to the gym, and there's a lot of...
I was going down a bad path.
Yeah.
I was drinking a lot every night.
Mm-hmm.
And
being
in the military, though, it's crazy because it's normal. Every night you're drinking a ton. Then the next day you wake up and you go on a ruck run, or you do some sort of physical activity. Then you go to the shop all day long, and then you might go to the field or whatever. But I felt you're always drinking.
Yeah. And
so I got out, and then I'm living with one of my buddies from the Marines as well. We both got out of the military at the same time because we went to boot camp together. And we're let's live with each other, see what it's like, kind of thing. And it was just, we were still thought we were in the military, basically just drinking. And I realized I'm going down a bad path quick. And then once I started doing martial arts, Monday and Wednesday night, I couldn't go out to dollar beer night, because I had jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And I couldn't get hammered on Friday night because Saturday morning I had practice.
Yeah.
So it kind of snowballed into this thing of what is more important, right? Mm-hmm. And I hear people that are I would never pay that much for a gym membership. Mm-hmm. But they go to the bar and they pay $70 on a Friday and $80 on a Saturday.
Oh yeah.
And that's in 2 days, you know? And it's just kind of what are your priorities? So I realized that my priorities started to change for the better once I got into martial arts, and literally have just tried to improve something every year or every month, I think martial arts has really helped me mentally to show myself you can just keep pushing and better yourself. Even if you think you're perfect, you're definitely fucking not.
Right.
So just keep it going. You know, there's always something to change, fix, and do.
I love that. That's great. That was something that I get that a lot too. Because I'm oh yeah, I pay that much or pay this and pay that. They go, what? I was oh yeah, I bought new shin guards and new gloves and mouth guard and Muay Thai shorts and this and that. And they're what are you? You're blowing your money. I've heard that so much. And I'm I'm not. Yeah. I'm just using it in
differently.
Yeah, than you are when you go out on Saturday.
I'm not against people that go out on Saturdays, but I'm just...
I am. You
terrible people. I wish I could. I can't,
Right.
But
it's a good way to take it that way. To look at it from that lens, because you're yeah, it might have felt oh, I can't go to that. But then it's I don't even, at a point you're I don't even want to go to that. I get more going to the gym than I do spending $20 and get fucked up on beer.
I mean, I'd spend $70. I wake up with a hangover, probably got no sleep.
Yeah.
Feel like shit the next day, all day long. Mm-hmm. Versus just getting good sleep and then going and whooping ass in the morning. It's way more fun.
It's way more fulfilling too.
Oh yeah.
I remember, I said, when I leave, I remember going to morning practices when I work nights, and I'm it's I should be asleep, but I was I want to go to this class. It literally saved me. So, and the more I look at it from that lens, I'm I never knew that going in. And there's more people who are oh, I was in a bad place. I was doing bad things. I would have gone down this path. I know it. I would have been in jail. I would have beat someone up, and I would have it was not good. And I'm but this gave me discipline. I didn't have it before.
Yeah, my family didn't really like it. They just see what's on TV.
Yeah, I'm curious. How's your family with this?
And nobody in my family does this, And
yeah.
So they were kind of what the hell? But since I stuck with it, it's pretty cool. My aunts and uncles come to the fights. My dad, my brothers.
Good.
Like it's really cool now. But back then it was tough to be like, this is what I love to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
You're 3-3 as an amateur fighter. You should probably just chill out.
Yeah.
Like get a real job and move on.
You're like boring.
And I'm like, I can't fucking do that.
No.
Not right now.
No way.
Not right now. One day, but not right now.
Yeah.
So.
Like I said, I think, like I said before, I know there was a weird thing where it's like, I know I've trained, but when other people tell you, like, you're doing good and this and that, I mean, family's different, but outside people, it's like, okay, but you don't know any of the other shit that I had to go through. You don't know about discipline at the gym. You don't know about, so there's a lot of different factors that play into, like, a compliment, whether people know it or not. But genuinely, I really think that you're on this path that, like I said, you're going to follow it to the end. And that end looks like a bright, awesome, like, culmination of, like, no regrets. Like, anything that comes at you, like, it's right. It's not even if it's a blockade, I break it down. Like, there's nothing.
Thank you. Yeah, I got the right people in my corner.
Right.
No pun intended, to help guide me through that too, because, like, Zach's been in this game for so long.
Yes.
And he is very knowledgeable. So when I come to a blockade that he's probably already been in multiple times, if not, once or twice before, I'm like, hey, how did you navigate through this or whatever? Or physically with Stefaan, something's hurting or not going right, or my balance is jacked up, or mentally this and that. And I can kind of go to him and say, what's up? Or even with the roommates or teammates and whatnot, just being able to have a team and those people around you, it's hard not to get through these small barricades.
Right. Absolutely. And then if it's a big one, they also make it small. Like, if they turn this big one, they go, no. Like, bring you back. Look at this. And you're like, oh, wow, it got smaller.
Even if they don't believe that you can get through it, they'll still be like, I think you can do this,
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, get through it. And they're like, wait, hold on. How the fuck? I'm like,
they were
wait,
like,
I thought I could do it.
They were like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
But the other one is like, holy shit, he did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's probably a couple of those in the gym. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, they're
How
like,
did that happen?
Yep. Yeah. But another thing that I wanted, do you have any like fight camp ritual?
Like camp?
Yeah, like, so like you're in camp. It's a week before fighting. Like, how do you get into a spot where you're like, I'm gonna go in an octagon? Because a lot of people are different with this. How do you how do you mentally prepare for that fight? Like, that week before, you're like, okay, I got to get my weight checked, my diet, like all this stuff.
I try to minimize outside distractions as best I can, number one. So phone-wise, I just try to, like, let the people that I'm, like, most in contact with, I would say, like, hey, it's fight week. I'm not going to be on my phone as much, or if you need me, like, just call me kind of thing.
Right.
I'm going to start locking in. And then I prep for the weight cut. I think that's your first fight. Make sure that you're on weight or at a sustainable weight for when you actually do your weight cut. You're not just going to kill yourself.
Right.
And then really just relax. Maybe move around a little bit, but nothing too crazy.
Right.
Hit the weight cut. And then obviously after that, get in the cage. But leading up to that point, I watched a lot of movies. Not a lot of movies, but I watch a couple. Gladiator, for sure. Gladiator gets me hyped.
Are you not entertained?
Just seeing this guy, like, his whole family is just killed, and, he's being starved to death, and he's got to kill people in order to live. Like,
fucking nuts being a gladiator.
Savage, right? So that's cool. And then I think confidence is one of the most key things in this game, and I think that The Notorious by Connor really throws that out there. And although
it's an amazing documentary,
amazing, but although he's not the Connor like now versus back then,
right,
I still kind of find that, like, confidence is, like, key to really winning. I mean, he had more confidence than God himself when he fought Aldo,
right,
and Aldo hadn't been beaten 10 years, and Connor was acting like he could walk on water, and then slept him in like 13 seconds.
Fucking nuts.
So I watched The Notorious, and I'm like, this guy started from nothing, and he just built his ass up, and is now fighting the best in the world, and just believed in himself. So I like to watch that. And then I do play some video games.
I'm right there with you.
Kind of get my mind also off of everything too, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there so stressed of like, how's the fight going to go? How's my weight kick going to go? Et cetera, et cetera. Like, all right, I've done the work. Now I'll call Walt or one of my buddies and say, hey, can we get online for a little bit?
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll do that. Or when I do my weight cut, like my first weight cut, I'll just play video games, sit in like a little portable sauna and be good to go, you know?
Yeah.
I try to be as relaxed as I can.
That's great.
I don't like to be too like, I'm already hyped up as it is.
Right.
So
yeah, there's a manageable level where you're like, I don't want to be like, that confidence is like a fine line. You don't want to be over, you don't want to be under,
yeah,
but you want to know that like this bar, like you're like, I know that I've done the work, I know that I've, you know, have all the dominoes set in place, so when it happens, it's gonna happen Saturday or Friday night.
I think that also having the confidence of like, I've done all the work. I've went to every strength and conditioning in the morning. I hate mornings. I hate waking up in the morning. I don't like it. If it's before noon, don't talk to me, right? Like, that's how I am. It's bad. So I hate that, but I know that I put in the work and gone to every strength conditioning. I've gone to as many practices as I can go to, probably if not more, right? I've been eating very clean. I've been treating my body right. I've been getting the right amount of sleep. I've been, you know, doing everything right that I can in order to find success inside the cage. So if I do get beat, I get beat because the guy's better than me, not because I beat myself.
Yes.
So
yeah, you're not. Well, you said earlier that mental, the ability to, what's the quote? Luna said it. That's what he said. He goes, you have to have this dream and this desire and this confidence that is astronomically crazy to everybody else looking in, but to you, you're like, nope, I know why I'm this confident.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. That's also part of sometimes they're a little nuts. Like, because you have to be, because no one, I mean, I don't know if, like, when you started MMA, if, like, I'm not saying no one was in your corner, not literally, but, like, no one was there to watch you. But, like, at a certain point, you have to realize when you go in there, I assume, I've never been in there, that no one's looking at you. They're waiting for, like, the next fight or waiting for something. And you're like, it's literally just me. Like, I literally have to sit here and be like, nope, it's a reassuring. Like,
it's crazy. Yeah, it's just you and one other fucking guy. And
when you went in there for the first time and they put the bolt through the door and they closed it, was it like oh, this is real shit? Or is that still?
Oh man. I've been doing better about it, but like my first probably like 7 fights, I just black out. I swear to God.
You're
like my adrenaline, Zach even was like, that's like, we got to figure that out.
Yeah.
But it's just like my adrenaline just goes so high, and I can remember like certain little things, but I don't really ever like right when I walk out is usually like the time things kind of like start to just go off. Yeah, exactly.
You're like,
so people are like, how did your fight go? Or what do you remember? I'm like, I don't remember shit.
You're like, they go, oh, you got hit around. You're like, no, it happened before.
Exactly. Yeah,
You're
exactly.
Like, no. You're like, I think I did really well. They were like, what do you mean? You were there. What are you talking about?
So now I'm trying to focus more on the person in front of me versus like the oh shit moment. Yeah. Right? Before I was more worried about like the oh shit, what if he throws this? Or what happens if this happens? And now it's more of when this happens, this is what I'm going to do.
Right. And that was when I was working with Jason, who's like my cognitive behavioral therapist. He was like, oh, like I remember going like, but what if this, what if that, what if that?
You have a therapist?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your boy goes.
If that's not reassurance enough.
Your boy goes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you been going a while?
So like I said, went when I was 23, and that was for the psychiatrist, and psychiatrist led to therapy for like 7 months. But then I realized when I went to the gym, I'm like, because it was just a guy who was like, whatever, I'm here in another chair next to you in like a small office, and I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah,
But yeah, now I've been going for like 6 months.
Damn.
So it's relatively new, and
Keep
I'm
going.
like, I know, dude. It's like it's every Thursday.
Every Thursday?
Well, every other Thursday.
Oh,
so like I'm like, yeah, it's the second and fourth Thursday. Like I'm just like, it's not a bad thing, but like I have like my notebook and my notes and everything that I feel or what am I going through at this moment, and I like walk in there, I can share it. Oh, we can talk about it.
I got the notes on my phone too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had gone to I've gone to like group therapy. I've gone to like individual. and I just never really jived anywhere I went. And I'd gone to like quite a bit, and I just thought like maybe this is not for me. Like I just can't do it. And February of this year, I went through like one of the darker points of my life, like bad, and you know, the point to where it was like, you need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy had been continually like telling me about this lady he goes to and whatever. And I got so low, and I was almost to the point where I was like, fuck it. Like nothing else can help me. I'll just try it just to say I tried it. So he shuts up. And
so relatable.
I went, and since going to her, my mental fortitude and my mental everything has just completely changed for the better. I feel a lot clearer when I leave. I also know like having a non-biased person to walk through problems. Like I'll bring an issue that I think is an issue to her, and I'll give her the scenario, and I'll say, hey, this is what happened. How should I handle this? Because this is how I handled it, but like, you know, whatever. Yeah. We'll walk through things, or why you're thinking like this. And I go like once a month or so, and it has honestly changed the game, like completely. But I think like we're talking about mentally, if you're not mentally there when you enter that cage on another level, you're done. Yeah. And absolutely. I go, speaking of fight week, I see her on fight week. Yeah. I know that therapists can like bring out like certain emotions and make you feel down and this and that. So I go in with like a game plan, and I'll let her know, hey, it's fight week. This is what I'm going to talk about. I don't want to get too much into this topic or that topic. Can we focus on this? Boom. Yeah. You know, and it just clears my head, and she's awesome. Yeah. I recommend it to anybody going through mental illness or like mentally just in a bad spot.
Yeah, same.
Not feeling like you can be a part of anything, or, I mean, I think everybody should go. Yeah. It's not a bad thing. Sorry, that was my big tangent about it, but I
love this shit, man.
I don't throw it out on social media that I go. I'm not here looking for like likes and attention. Like I went to my therapist today. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like that.
That shit drives me crazy. They're like, I went to my therapist and we talked about this, and then they post something on Facebook, and I'm like, well, that's private. Now you're making the thing that you solved. You didn't actually solve it. You just wanted a new Monday post for like Monday motivation with my therapist. You're like,
yeah, I don't like that, and I don't understand that, but whatever. It's not my social media.
Yeah, they're the ones next to the Tesla guy who has the money, and they're also just like, oh yeah. Yeah. But that's the same thing. Like, I know that family is super, super important in terms of like your support and the things that you can lean back on, and like family's always, you know, maybe some other than others, but like they're always going to be there. And like, but I think the most growth I've ever had thus far has been like when I had my sister here and we went through it. She's like, I don't think I'd be okay if I didn't see you like not be okay, and then go through it and then realize that like this isn't a stigma. Like this is just like something you have to do if you want to be happy with your life or be better or solve this or do that. So then she started to go, and then she started to figure things out, and then now she's, you know, up in the city killing it, just graduated. Like she's a biology and chemistry like bachelor's degree person, now she wants to be a therapist, and she could be a doctor or PhD, and I'm like, sick. Holy shit. Yeah. She's like, that was all because I watched you do it. I'm like,
that's cool. Yeah, I went in there like with a bunch of stereotypes of what a therapist is and what they do, and I definitely went in with my guard high, you know, and I told her right away, I was like, I don't want to be pushing any pills. I don't want to be told what to take and not take. I was like, I don't do that shit. I was like, but let's try to figure this out without any of that. And she was like, all right. And then we've just been rolling. Yeah. So
you were like, I'm going to come in strong. She's going to probably back down. Well, I'm going to be fine. And then she's like, okay. You go, well, there goes game plan.
Yeah. I was like, all right, sounds good to me. So it's a little different, but it's hard, I would say, like the first couple times. Yeah. Especially when your guard's high and, you know, you're already going through stuff, and you're like, who's this stranger? And then they're like, hey, let me help you. And then you like do one of the exercises that they give you. Yeah. You know, you go home and I'll be like, what's my homework? She'll tell me whatever. And
I always go like this, thanks, Jason. Like I was thinking, oh, that's good. I've solved that now. But yeah, it's always, that's a good segue. Like it is going to be weird. The first, like they are strangers. But now I'm like, oh, that's Jason. They're like, who? I'm like, oh, a therapist.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if I was to see someone out in town, like, am I to like say hi?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or is that like awkward? Because she knows like all my deep, dark secrets.
Oh, hell no. I think also, another key thing that being a therapist, like, and I'm not trying to speak for all therapy kind here, but like, you guys must have, like, you must be the best secret keepers ever.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because, like, there's different people, different rotations.
I'd write like an anonymous book of everything I've heard.
And then you're just like, what's that over there in the pile? You go, nothing.
Yeah, nothing at all.
None of your business. What's in that file cabinet? You're like, can't ask that.
Yeah, they have a crazy job. I used to just say they listen to people complain all day and get paid for it. Now, I think they still do that, but now the way that I am walked through situations and how to handle stuff, I see that they do more than that. But I can definitely see like going alone, just trying to go sucks.
Yeah, but now it's like my favorite Thursday thing.
Dude, it's fun. It's so fun.
And I'm like, I didn't think that at all. I was just like, I think I'm doing good. And then I'll go in there. Like, for example, I just had my last like session was about like a combat I was having was like a relationships, like figuring out that like, because I'm in here a lot or I'm doing this or I'm working and I have a kiddo. So like a lot of time is gone. Like a lot of time is spent with those things. And the constant buffer was like, it feels like every 3 months, it's like, okay, cool. This person understands what's going on. And then, it's like, then it just gets progressively worse. And then it just like, whoever that person is breaks out. And then it's just someone that I like, it's like trauma. I go like this, like one was like, just wouldn't, I don't want to call her out, but like, it was so radical to me that I was like, I just left all my shit. Like, it was like, well, really, that's the fuck you're going to do? And I'm like, I'm going to work. What'd I do? Like, you even talked to me for 2 days. And then it was like angry, sad, crying, back to angry, and then kind. And I'm like, so I can go to work now. She goes, what? And then back to angry. And I'm like, it just like, I saw like, I'm like, this is not good. And I was like, I'm going to leave. Like, that's shit. I'm going to leave and just like not come back. And she goes, didn't come back.
Damn.
Yeah. And
Ghosted.
I was like, I know. I was
Ghosted.
like, so it was just something that like, I went to talk to him about, and I'm like, just talking through it, I'm like, oh, I understand that might be a piece I have to like come to terms with. And it's like, most people have like their parents who they talk to, and they're like, oh, we really liked her. And you were like, well, fuck. Like,
she was crazy, Mom.
Yeah. And then they're just like, well, and it's like, no, I don't need an or. I need like Jason.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely.
So I really think that the third party is key into that. But like, have you noticed that at all? Because you have the house, so you have fighters that you live with, right? And so those guys are like the structure, which is the good part, right? You found something where it's like, I have this structure in the gym, outside the gym, and that's cool. But like for me, when I have to describe that I do this and I edit this till midnight and I do this and do that, like girls are like, excuse me, you're gone. Like, I go, yeah, I'm building my dreams. Like, I'm not going to like take my full cup because I'm happy and then pour it into yours. So I was like, that was a key thing I had to come to terms with, is like sacrificing like relationships to a standpoint. Have you ever had that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
because of MMA.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing something that it has to be first. It can't be your family. It can't be your girlfriend. This has to be number one, because if it's not number one, you're going to take an L. Yeah. And for a lot of people, what they don't see or understand, when a girl says, oh, I can make that work, that's not a problem. Well, Monday through Friday, I'm at the gym, right? I can't go to all your holiday parties and drink because I'm on a diet, right? I can't go to your family gatherings, right? Because I'm training. I can't wake up early and go to, the X, Y, and Z because I'm going to be at practice in the morning, right? And until you're like living through that with somebody, you don't really understand that. Or like going to a bar, and it's like, I don't mind going to a bar. Like, I go to Green Lady Lounge all the time. And
I've always wanted to go there, dude.
Dude, that's my spot. Don't steal it. But you should go.
No. Okay. I thought that was open.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're going to take me. Okay, cool. You heard it. He's going to take me.
And I'll even go there with, a girl and relax and listen to some live jazz music and chill, and I'll just get water. But a lot of people don't see that. Right. And until you're like living through that with somebody, they're like, oh, this is serious,
Yeah.
right? You have to take it serious, and it has to be number one. So living at the house with the boys, I'm a firm believer in like, you are who you hang out with. So like if I'm hanging out with a girl that likes to drink Monday through Sunday and likes to party Thursday through Sunday, right? Well, now my life is focused over here and not over here where it should be, right?
Yeah.
And not that you can't have your fun, right? You should be able to have your fun, but you also need to be so focused on the goal that the distractions should not bother you at all.
Right.
Right. And so I'm a firm believer in like, you are who you hang out with. And like living at home with Mikey and Phil, I believe I'm better just because I'm hanging out with who I want to be.
Right.
I want to be a really good fighter. I want to live and eat and sleep and breathe like one. And those boys do it.
Yeah.
You know, and learning from them on how they cut their weight, how they train, why they train at this time, you know, putting in the extra work. A lot of people don't see the extra work, which I think is crazy.
Yeah.
And the amount of extra work that I see some of those boys do
behind
closed doors is crazy.
Well, and that's the thing that you also won't describe that either. Like, you know, and it's not, I remember one time I was like, okay, it's 6:00. I have to do my exercises and like go do this. And they're like, no, we have dinner in like an hour and a half. And I'm like, I'll get it done in 45 minutes. Like,
yeah.
And that is enough to be like, you're already not understanding the simplest thing I have to do. Yeah. Just to make sure that I am successful, happy, and that I'm good.
I lay that out there, number one, though. If I'm interested and vice versa, you know, and we start kind of chit-chatting, and I'll let it be known, like, hey, fighting is number one. I'm not here to, like, leave you on the back end, but I'm also not here to fuck off.
Right.
And not be focused and not be at the gym. Like, you're not going to take away,
right,
you know, this. I'm not going to keep you from work.
Right.
You're still going to work Monday through Friday, 7 to 5, right? You know, I'm not keeping you from work.
Right.
So my work's just a little bit different and different hours.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, what's the old phrase? It's like men get into a relationship and women get into a relationship differently. Men are like, okay, cool, she understands. And then like the girl's like, I'm going to change it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, there's obviously going to be some resistance. But yeah, that's a big thing I've had to like, and it's not that I don't need it. It's just like, okay, that's like just as that the person I'm looking for is just as tough and rare to find as the person I am doing it now. You know, like they're the person you would look for who understands all of that means that when a majority of the population does not have this, if you want to take your happiness, like success, the dreams you have, right? If that's a cup, mine, because I'm doing all the things I chose to do and fought for and literally like bled, cried, like everything. I'm here because of how far I got. And if you want to take that away from me, if you want to take that from my cup, well, that means yours isn't full. So why is it my job to do 90% of my time trying to fill yours?
Yeah.
And then you're just downing it. And I just filled this up. And I have to.
Exactly.
It's like they're going to be either and it's the same, kind of the same thing, just worded differently. They're either going to be 90% of your like agony and pain or 90% of your success and like your growth and like the spouse you choose. And I was like, holy shit, that's
very true.
Very true.
It's very true. I couldn't agree more.
I know.
I couldn't agree more. I was going to go off, but no, I can't agree more.
But that's like, these are all like, bro, thank you for being here. Like, this was so cool to talk to like someone who's on, like, when you talk to someone who's on a level, even if it's different, like your fight game and dedication is like, that's what we're dedicated to do here.
Yeah.
So when you meet those people and you can have a conversation like this, like every time now I'm going to leave better and like wake up like better than yesterday and like right now. And it's I couldn't thank all the people who come on and you, of course, for being here.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Hope you had fun.
That was awesome.
It was cool?
Yeah. That was awesome.
James.
Thank you, James.
You made it look beautiful in here.
James killed it.
You killed it.